Star Wars The Clone Wars is something of a controversial subject for Star Wars fans. While a lot of folks, myself included, praise it for its fantastic action sequences and in-depth look at the actual Clone Wars, a lot of folks, understandably so, resent it for retconning so much of the EU canon, i.e. Quinlan Vos originally being a brooding grey Jedi who struggled deeply with his own dark side, or Darth Maul Asajj Ventress originally being from Iridonia and Ratak respectively, or the fact that Darth Maul was actually brought back to life in this series, or continuing characterization for General Grievous from Episode 3, as opposed to his Clone Wars characterization, or even the idea that Anakin actually had a proper Jedi apprentice between the events of Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. For the purposes of this video, I have no opinion, aside from Anakin having a Padawan in Darth Maul's resurrection, because I've never really read the EU. I didn't know Maul's species prior to hearing what he was in one of Antoine Bandelay's Star Wars vs. videos. I didn't know Ventress's original cultural origin until I heard Jensarai 1 rant about it in one of his Star Wars vs. videos. And I didn't know much about Quinlan Vos's character until I heard Antoine and Evan Nova 95 discuss it in some of their Star Wars vs. videos. I watch a lot of Star Wars vs. videos. Anyways, my point here is I don't have an opinion about these changes. Well, I think the Quinlan Vos I've heard of is more interesting than the Quinlan Vos I wound up meeting, and I acknowledge that Darth Maul being resurrected is really, really contrived. I have no criticisms for the people who do care a lot about these things, and completely understand why they're passionate about it. I'm just putting it out there that this series is about what I know and what I think, and I don't know anything about the EU beyond what I've been told. I'm not going to chat too much about these things because I don't care about them, and I don't think much of the subject. Beyond a simple, well, that stinks for the fans of that thing. But that's all I have, really. So, without further ado, take it away, Mr. Cumberbatch.
Now, shall we begin?
So this is the belly of the beast. Ventress. And here I thought this mission would be unpleasant.
The pleasure's all mine, my dear Obi-Wan. I've missed you.
I like how once the sabers are out, the first thing Ventress does is take the high ground. Smart thinking, Ventress. I also like how the first thing Anakin does is try to tear Ventress a new one, because that duel on Yavin 4 must have been a nightmare to go through. And I kind of like how Obi-Wan is taking up a position as the defender in this duel. Whatever oncoming strike Ventress has for Anakin, he intercepts, and then Anakin takes advantage of their opening to take her down. Also, Obi-Wan and Ventress both have spatial awareness. Good job, you two. This bit with the books here continues my theory about Anakin and Obi-Wan's partnership. Obi-Wan stops the attack, Anakin counters. Attack, defend, counter. Attack, defend, counter.
Give up, Ventress.
I'm all yours, Obi-Wan.
Ooh, fake a surrender and let the Jedi come to you, then make them fall down. Good trick, Ventress.
Get me, boys.
You didn't tell us you were bringing friends.
Poor Obi-Wan. You've been betrayed, and now we're about to take control of this world.
Anakin!
6 out of 10. Not the best fight ever, but a pretty good showing for all the combatants involved. Keep it up, TCW.
Where is Skywalker?
This actually isn't a terrible showing for Ahsoka. If she can make Ventress have to actually put in some effort instead of just disarming her out of the gate, she may be on the right track. Granted, it's still a short fight, and you already know who's going to win in this contest of sabers, so 4 out of 10. But hey, 5 fully trained Jedi did against General Grievous.
Master Kenobi, always chasing after Skywalker. How predictable.
Anakin leaves quite a mess, which always leads me to you, Ventress.
Take him.
Obi-Wan goads Ventress into attacking him, and Ventress takes the bait. Ventress opts to both increase her ease of mobility and distract Obi-Wan by taking her skirt off and tossing it at him. Obi-Wan quickly takes care of the fabric and intercepts Ventress's next attack. Obi-Wan teases her about the tactic, but Ventress is too pissed to hear it and disarms him, much to Obi-Wan's surprise. The now disarmed Obi-Wan evades Ventress's attacks and eventually grabs her wrist and pushes her back. Wait, where have I seen this before? Using the sudden lull in the fight, he quickly retrieves his saber. The saber-to-saber match continues, with Ventress eventually knocking Obi-Wan into a pillar, attempting to carve him up like a turkey. Obi-Wan evades and opts to get his ass out of there, but Ventress catches up to him.
We know of Dooku's plot to turn the Hutts against us. It will not succeed.
It will when the truth dies with you.
Displaying a lot of power behind her twin saber strikes, and eventually swapping out 2 single-bladed attacks for 1 double-bladed attack. Obi-Wan's standing on a narrow platform against a saber staff-wielding Sith apprentice. Where have we seen that before? Obi-Wan continues to evade instead of fighting Ventress off, but Ventress continues to follow him. Obi-Wan finally decides to turn the offense up a notch once Anakin is off the planet, and easily counters Ventress's saber staff, even separating the link between the 2 pommels. Sheesh, this really is like Duel of Fates. Ventress isn't deterred, though, and resumes her aggressive offense with her 2 sabers. Obi-Wan again counters her attack with apparent ease, even disarming her in a blade lock. Ventress opts to call a ride in, but not before trying to kill Obi-Wan on some more. Putting a fairly decent suggest she surrender the fight. But Ventress simply gets the hell out. 6 out of 10. It's not as good as the Duel of Fates or the Yavin 4 duel, but it's still not half bad. I like the tactics used here by the duelists. Ventress needs to end the fight quick so she can get to Jabba's son, so she decides to not play around. She even uses her own skirt as a weapon. She realizes Obi-Wan isn't having any problems with her double-bladed assault, so she swaps a 2 single-bladed assault for 1 double-bladed assault. When that doesn't work, she switches back to her standard Jarkai approach. Obi-Wan needs to draw the fight out so Anakin and Ahsoka can get going, so he spends half the duel either running off or making fun of Ventress.
You'll have to do better than that, my darling.
When he disarms her, he takes it in stride and just waits until he has an opportunity to safely retrieve his weapon. A good showing for both. Anakin is in the one place he hoped to never go back to, his home planet. And he's facing it off against the jerk who cut off his hand on Geonosis and betrayed the entire Jedi Order. That setup is practically Shakespearean. And the realization that I've compared a children's film to the works of William Shakespeare does in fact make me question my own intelligence. Anyways, on with the duel. Dooku rides in on his speeder bike and Anakin ignites his saber, ready for a fight. Dooku opens with a burst of Force lightning, but Anakin absorbs it with his saber. Dooku decides it's time to whoop the boy's ass again, but to his surprise, Anakin isn't doing half bad.
Your training has come a long way, boy. Now I remember. This was your home planet, wasn't it? I sense your strong feelings. Feelings of pain, loss.
Dooku tries to get inside of Anakin's head, but Anakin blocks it out and conjures a small dust storm with the Force. Dooku isn't fazed by this and sends it back at Annie, who is promptly knocked back and disarmed of his saber. Dooku takes the opening and goes in for the kill, but Anakin calls his saber back just in time. After blocking Dooku's attack, Anakin gets back to his feet, but Dooku slices across his backpack. Anakin quickly informs Dooku that he just fooled the old bastard. Dooku is enraged by this and resumes the fight with Anakin, quickly putting him in a blade lock. They trade blows back and forth for a little bit longer, but Dooku eventually tosses Anakin back with the Force. Dooku decides to taunt Anakin some more by showing Ahsoka about to get killed by a couple Magna Guards. In an uncharacteristically smart move, Anakin opts to just snag Dooku's spike and speed off, leaving the Count to lap it up, but not before striking at Dooku again and kicking the old geezer in the face. 7 out of 10. I like how Dooku keeps trying to use psychological warfare on Anakin, but Anakin isn't having it. Also, Anakin not only uses the Force to win a fight, but he actually uses it to manipulate his environment. That is rare. He even manages to kick Dooku in the friggin' face. That is awesome. I will say, though, I am severely disappointed that Anakin leaves such a bad opening for Dooku. If it weren't for that backpack of rocks, he'd at best be a quadriplegic and at worst be dead. Come now, Annie, you are doing so well. Alright, so that's it for the Clone Wars movie, plus episode 16 of the series. I opted to just confine this first video to the first 4 chronological fights of the series, just because the last video was so long, and I didn't want to drag things out even further. Next up is the rest of Season 1, so stay tuned for that.